Hello there. I am Scorched Scales, and over the last week I have been reading The Dangerous Gift, the sequel to The Poison Jungle, featuring our return to the continent of Pyria, and the penultimate book for Arc 3. Now, I've actually heard quite a few rather negative things about the book. Like, I've seen a lot of people say that, ooh, it's unnecessary, that, ooh, it's filler. But, to find out what I thought about it, let's go to the tier list. So right now, after reading it, personally, I would rank The Dangerous Gift around here. Yes, I know. I can't believe it either. A book about a royal that I actually like. Like, literally, every single other book featuring a royal as a main character, they're all in my bottom tier. But finally, a book starring a royal has escaped that curse. It only took us 14 books. So yeah, safe to say that I really enjoyed this book. Hell, to be fully honest, this one is like tilting on the edge of being put in the very top tier alongside Darkstalker and Escape in Peril. But I don't know if I should rank it there. Because when you tell me that, ooh, I ranked this in the same tier as the Poison Jungle and the Hive Queen, I would be like, ooh, nah, it's a tier higher than that. But then I remember what's in the highest tier. Alright, so, The Dangerous Gift. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me until after reading the book to figure out what The Dangerous Gift was referring to in the title. I think that this will probably be a rather quick video compared to what I normally do, because I do have very little to say about it. Because when it comes to the negatives of the book, to my criticisms, I only have one. Yeah, out of the entire book, I only have one criticism, which is that this book doesn't really have a story? Is that the correct way to phrase it? Because comparing this to the other books, there is always a direct journey that the protagonist is partaken in. But in The Dangerous Gift, there isn't really... that isn't a thing. Because this book is more of the main character, Snowfall, changing as a person. It's more about her changing as a character, rather than the actual journey around her. All of the other books contain a journey, but this isn't really a journey. Well, I guess it does contain a journey. It would be cut down to the Pantalan dragons show up in Snowfall's kingdom, they go to Sanctuary, they hang out, and then they go back again. Every other book has a very solid journey, but this one doesn't, due to this one being more character-based. While yes, theoretically you could have both, but this book isn't about Snowfall going on a big grand journey. This is about Snowfall identifying what's wrong with her. This is about her changing as a person. Well, as a dragon, because she isn't a person. This book is more about taking a dive into her mentality, into the way she thinks, and changing that. Which could be seen as a rather negative aspect, because this one doesn't really progress the story of Arc 3. The only real difference this one makes is that the Pantalan dragons gain allies, and some of them go back to Pantala. Like, if this was from the POV of a dragon from Pantala, this book would be like a couple of chapters. But I do guess that's why a lot of people do view this book as filler, because if this was from somebody else's point of view, it would be rather short, like a couple of chapters. But I do agree in saying that I do wish it felt like a bit more happened, because after reading the book, even though yes, I did like it, as you can tell, I did feel like there could have been a bit more to the actual progression of Arc 3. Alright, so on to the positives, the stuff that I liked, so I can actually have something to chew on. My first positive does partly connect to Snowfall as a character, but it's so significant to the story that I kind of have to mention it here outside of the character section. But I think the way that Snowfall's character changes throughout this book, it's great, because at the beginning of the book you have this very anxiety-filled, very anxious and self-centered politician, essentially. Somebody who is only focused on maintaining themselves and the people that they're responsible of. Because in this book, Snowfall fears the outside world, which is mainly due to how Icewing society is structured, and also due to how a couple of months ago, a dragon outside of their kingdom attempted to commit genocide. Like, yeah, you know, it's just a little bit of genocide. But this book is there to show the change that happens within Snowfall. The only way she is able to change is by literally putting herself in somebody else's shoes. Due to the ring, she is forced to see from the point of view of the other dragons. The very dragons that she is anxious about the mere presence of, which she actively villainizes because she fears that they're out to get her due to her anxiety, which came from her past experiences with the genocidal dragon. And the way she attempts to justify her fear in her head is by going, ooh, they aren't our people, they are out of our way, and they are out of our mind. They aren't us, they have their own problems, they should deal with them. Like, damn, I'm fairly certain I've heard those exact thoughts come from politicians. Like, yeah, that is especially relevant today. Like, especially what's been going on in the world the last few months. And even multiple times throughout the book, she tries to take the ring off. She tries to not change. Because she hates feeling weak. She hates seeing from the point of view of somebody else. Because when she is inside somebody else's mind, she doesn't just see through their eyes. She becomes them. She can see everything. She can feel everything. She can feel the hate, the dread, the love behind every single other dragon's eyes. And that's what makes her change. By seeing from point of view of a dragon that isn't an Icewing, she's able to understand that, ooh, they aren't all bad, and they really need our help. And I think it's done spectacularly in this book, even though I'll fully admit I don't think I'm fully capable of articulating it during this video. Like, damn, I really am just speaking pure nonsense. And the only real other, like, big positive that comes to me about this book is the Jerboa chapters. I think they're phenomenal. They are quite possibly my favourite individual chapters of any Wings of Fire book. They are fantastic. These merely 2 chapters add so much depth to her character, and it's horrifying. Like, I always see people reference Prince Arctic, I think it is. People always reference his death as the darkest moment in the entire series. However, now I'm like, did none of you read The Dangerous Gift? Because yeah, I think the Jerboa chapters are the darkest moments in the series. Because I think being forced to live out your life over and over and over again, with your mother manipulating every single aspect of you, with you living and dying on repeat the same thing over and over again for 2,000 years, is a bit darker than becoming a personal pinata. Like, I don't think I'll be able to do those 2 chapters justice here. Hell, I might have to make an entire video just focused on Jerboa, because damn, I feel so sorry for her. But I will add something else that I do think a part of the reason why I might find the Jerboa chapters more horrifying than anything else in the series is due to how less descriptive it is. Because in horror, the most horrifying thing isn't the thing you put to screen. It's the unknown. It's the audience's own imagination. When you can't see the horror, where your brain is demanded to fill in the space, it automatically fills it in with the most horrifying thing for you. That's why, in general, horror movies are a lot less scary when you see the monster. Because when it's shrouded in darkness, when it's the unknown, it can be anything. And I think that's partially the reason why the Jerboa chapters here spark a sense of horror in me. Because due to how undescriptive her past is, it allows my brain to fill it in with the most horrifying things to me. Horror makes the human brain work against itself. And even if it's unintentional in this book, allowing the audience's imagination to fill in what happened during those 2,000 years that Jerboa doesn't remember can spark more horror in the reader than anything the author can come up with. Yeah, you know, horror, lived to repeat the same torturous life over and over again due to your manipulative mother. You know, for kids! Alright, so, moving on to the characters. Now, I'll fully admit, due to this being the 4th book in the arc, there are very, and I mean very, few new characters. Well, significant new characters. The first character who I want to talk about, the main character of the book. So yeah, they're somewhat important. Snowfall. Even though I have already talked about a lot of her character because it's very significant to the story there is in this book. I'm fairly certain that this is the first Wings of Fire character who, at the beginning of the book, you're supposed to hate them. At the beginning of this book, she is a terrible person. And it's just so satisfying to see her change and become, ooh, somewhat of a good person. I have already at length talked about overcoming her own fears of the world. I didn't really talk about her anxiety. I'll try and keep this short because I don't want to ramble on for 30 minutes again. But from what I remember, a lot of her anxiety about ruling over her tribe comes from her being a young queen during the battle with Darkstalker, where every single Nightwing and Icewing were able to hear each other's thoughts. Snowfall was able to hear the thoughts of her own soldiers, the thoughts of the very people she's ruling over, only for most of them to hate her! The majority of her tribe doubts how she is at being a queen due to how inexperienced she is. And that leads to her having a fair bit of self-doubt and always questioning everybody around her. Like when Crystal vanishes, her immediate thought is to think, ooh, she must be trying to face me. She must be trying to steal from me. And for the most part, how she learns to trust those around her is because of Lynx, and because of the visions that the ring gives her. And a lot of her anxiety does also stem from the wall of the rankings, which I don't believe I've talked about before. Part of the reason why Snowfall is somewhat willing to go on the physical journey throughout the story is so she doesn't have to deal with the wall. But when she returns, she has to do it. She has to continue doing it because it's tradition. And of course, throughout this book, she realizes how flawed that is. And at the very end of this book, she punches it. She punched a wall to death. Twice. Damn. Snowfall out here be having grudges with inanimate objects. She destroyed a wall, she destroyed another wall, she commanded the destruction of a crown. Is she gonna destroy a door next? Is she just gonna go around destroying inanimate objects? Like, imagine if you needed something to be demolished. You wouldn't call in a wrecking crew. You'll just call in Snowfall. She has personal beef with concrete. Even though I do think I have been given quite a poor explanation of Snowfall's character throughout this book, I do think she is very well done. It sounds like I'm ordering a steak. Like, yes sir, I'll have one well done Icewing steak please. Icewing flesh. Delicious. It'll taste like shards of glass. And then for the side characters, there is Lynx. You have Lynx essentially acting as the angel on Snowfall's shoulder, guiding her throughout the story, prompting her that, ooh, maybe it would be better if you did this, helping her become a better person and a better queen. And then for the only other, like, major, well, I say major, but she's only in the beginning and end of the book, there's Minx? Is her name Minx? Hold on, I have to look it up. Is her name Minx? Yes, Mink, that's her name. Not Minx. I don't really have a lot to say about her, other than she's small, she's funny, she's cute. I like her. Even though, when she was sitting on the throne, Mink essentially became a tyrannical dictator. I like to imagine Mink has commanded 20 executions. The children crave blood. So yes, those were my very, very messy thoughts on The Dangerous Gift. Personally, I loved this. I really liked it. Easily my personal favourite out of Arc 3 so far. I do understand why people could see this as filler, as I explained earlier, because not a lot story-wise for the overall arc happens in this book. I don't mind it here, because I personally love the journey that Snowfall goes through in this book. However, I do wonder, how is this book the only book starring a royal, the only one that I like? Well, I do like The Lost Heir and Winter Turning and Towns of Power. I just think they're rather weak. I'm very, very shocked to see that people overlook this book. Hell, my two favourite books of this arc so far, I'm pretty sure, are the two that are always overlooked. But I do think it might be interesting to do a overall look at Arc 3 and see...
Why are you the way that you are?
And as for the art that I was drawing in this video, of course, I drew Snowfall. I'll be fully honest, I don't have that much to say about this, other than I like it. And as for next week, it is The Flames of Hope, the last book of Arc 3. Currently, the last mainline Wings of Fire book. I have heard rather bad things about this book, but considering how positive I have been towards both the Hive Queen and the Dangerous Gift, I'm wondering if I'll be more positive towards it. I have had a few things being spoiled for me. Like, I know the antagonist is going to change. And after reading the end of Dangerous Gift, I'm fairly certain I know what it is. And I am a bit worried about how it's going to handle all the characters, because the queens from each tribe sent one person to go to Pantala. That means this little group has 10 characters. Like, that is a lot of characters. I don't know. In reality, I really just want a somewhat competent ending, but I just hope it's either great, good, or mid. I would be fine with a rather mid ending for what's been a rather mid arc. But yeah, next week It's the last one. We'll have finally reached our end of this weird 6-month journey. And I guess I'll see you there. Because now, this is really all I have to say. So thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you another day.